Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in the 10-minute Bible lesson. We appreciate you joining us and tuning in to these lessons. Now, if you've been watching some of them, you know we've been doing a study on the miracles of Jesus, and I've really enjoyed this study, and I hope that you have too. Now, I would just like to say today we're going to look at another miracle. It would be a miracle of Him healing someone, but it's a miracle of healing of a different sort. Now, what in the world do I mean by that? Well, let's jump right in and we'll read about it and you'll see. Now, our verses and our passages today are taken from Luke chapter 8, and we're going to begin in verse 27. So it says, "And when he stepped out on the land, there met him a certain man from the city who had demons for a long time, and he wore no clothes, nor did he live in a house, but in the tombs." See, I told you it was going to be different. So I just have to ask this question: do you believe people can be possessed by demons? I can say that I do. I believe that today there are those that are possessed with demons. That is to say, they have demons living in them. In fact, I believe this, that the horrendous, senseless killings that we see are inspired by demons. Now, I don't know if every single one of them are, but I just think that they have their hand in that. So anyway, the Bible tells us that this man had demons, and he had them a long time. And not only that, but his behavior was unusual. Well, it tells us that he didn't wear any clothes. Now, that's pretty strange. Well, I think it's strange, even though today it seems like people in the summer, they want to take off more and more clothes. But I do think that's strange behavior. And not only that, it's where he lived. Where did he live? Why, he lived among the tombs. Now, how many of us want to say, oh, that's where I want to live? I want to live over there in the cemetery among the mausoleums and stuff. Well, that's where he lived. Well, let's read verse 28 in Luke chapter 8. So it says, "When he saw Jesus, he cried out, fell down before him, and with a loud voice said, 'What have I to do with you, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, do not torment me.'" Wow. So these demons speaking through the man came and fell down before Jesus. That's just kind of something I think that's a little bit interesting, because every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. Demons bow before Jesus. And when he came and bowed before Jesus, it says that he cried out with a loud voice. And what did he say in this loud voice? He was stating that as a demon, that he had nothing to do with Jesus. And isn't that true? Listen, they're on the opposite ends. It's like heaven and hell. Obviously, a demon has nothing at all to do with Jesus. But I found something very interesting about this passage, that he knew more about Jesus. That is to say, he knew more about who Jesus was than most people do. Tom, what do you mean by that? Well, I mean this, that he states the fact that Jesus was the Son of the Most High God. And not only that, he believed that Jesus had the power to send him to a place of torment. Most people don't believe that. They don't even understand that or know that. This demon did. Well, let's look at the next verse, verse 29 in Luke chapter 8. Because it says, "For he commanded the unclean spirit to come out of the man, for it had often seized him, and he was kept under guard, bound with chains and shackles. And he broke the bonds and was driven by the demon into the wilderness." Now, I just have to tell you this, as far as my own self, I try not to associate or go near things that have to do with the occult. Now, I don't mess with those things. And you know what? I would give advice to you for you not to mess with it either. So I don't mess with palm readers. Not only that, I don't mess with people that are called spiritualists, or people who claim to be able to speak to the dead, or Ouija boards, or tarot cards. And listen, I don't have anything to do with any of those things, because listen, I know that the devil is real. And I know that he has a great number of demons at his disposal. So no, I don't mess with those things. Now, there were actually many demons living in this man. Now, it doesn't necessarily show it in this account, in Luke's account, but when they said their name, they said, "Our name is Legion, for we are many." So this guy had many, and you know what? He begged Jesus to let them enter into a herd of swine. And Jesus did that. And when he did that, the Bible says that the herd of swine ran violently off a cliff. They went nuts. They went crazy. Now let's look at verse 35 in Luke. We're going to jump down to verse 35. We can't cover all of the verses, but we're going to hit the highlights. So Luke 8:35. It says, Then they went out to see what had happened, and came to Jesus, and found the man from whom the demons had departed, sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed and in his right mind. And they were afraid. Now the reaction from the people in the city who came out to see this, it amazes me. In fact, here's why it amazes me. It seems like to me, or you would think that they felt more comfort, they were more comfortable with a demon living close to them than having Jesus there. Now I say that because it says in these verses, if you read some of them, that they pleaded with Jesus to leave and to depart. And I just think that's a strange thing, because a mighty miracle had taken place. Jesus had healed this man that had been tormented for years and years. And I love the picture here of this man after Jesus healed him. Listen, it's a picture sometimes, I think it's a picture that represents all of us. I'm not saying that all of us have demons. You could say all of us fire demons, but it's a picture of all of us, what happens to us when we come to Jesus. What happened to him? It says that he was a changed man, because now he was not crying out, screaming and hollering. He was not cutting himself. He was not running around naked. Listen, he was not wanting to live in the place that he used to live. He didn't want to live there anymore. So what happened to him? Listen, he was sitting clothed at the feet of Jesus. And the Bible says he was in his right mind. Oh, wow. What a great picture here. In fact, other verses that I didn't read today tell us that he pleaded with Jesus that Jesus would allow him to go and be with him and follow him, just to be close to him. Now, what do you think Jesus said? Well, we're going to read about it. In fact, Jesus said, no. I'm surprised. But let's read in verse 39. Luke chapter 8, 39. This is the last verse. So he said, return to your own house and tell what great things God has done for you. That's what Jesus told him. And he went his way and proclaimed throughout the whole city what great things Jesus had done for him. I love this. I just love this passage. And that's what we ought to do. Listen, when Jesus saves us and he puts us in our right mind and he clothes us with righteousness and he helps us to love him, we need to tell other people, just like this guy. I mean, here's a guy that was possessed with demons, and now they had been cast out, and he was a better witness than most of us. Well, anyway, we appreciate you joining us today and tuning in for this unusual miracle that Jesus performed. I hope you have a really good week.